It's nearly impossible to have never consumed a Nestlé product in your lifetime. Bottled water, pet care products, baby foods, pizzas, nutritional shakes, supplements, and of course chocolate. Delicious chocolate in all its forms, colors, and sizes. They even own the Wonka brand of candies inspired by the famous book, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. However, if you're a follower of this channel, you already know that today's topic isn't going to be sweet. Lurking in the shadows of corporate opulence are dark truths that tarnish the image of giants like Nestlé. Allegations of child exploitation, modern slavery, ecological disasters from plastic pollution, indiscriminate deforestation for palm oil production, and insensitive water extraction during droughts are just a few of the controversies surrounding this colossal entity. Historically, power has shifted from emperors and monarchs to dictators, and now, in the 21st century, to the magnates of global capitalism. Where once kings and emperors were known for their blue blood and ruled vast territories, today we have the emperors of capital, whose color is no longer blue, but the green of money. They are not traditional monarchs, but leaders of a new realm, the corporation, a more extensive and powerful entity than any historical monarchy, with a reach no English monarch could have dreamed of in their wildest, most power-hungry fantasies. With 400 factories spread across 80 countries and a presence in 186 nations, Nestlé dominates the global market. Owning over 2,000 recognized brands, such as Nescafé and Kit Kat, the corporation reports an annual revenue exceeding $100 billion. This is dark money, and today I bring you the Nestlé case, where sweetness is overshadowed by the tears of the innocent. Let me give you a quick summary of the company to help you better understand its history. Our story begins in 1866 in Vevey, Switzerland, with Henri Nestlé, a German pharmacist who was not satisfied with just selling pills. Henri created Farine Lactée, a powdered milk formula for babies who could not be breastfed, marking the beginning of Nestlé's obsession with nutrition and expansion. From Switzerland to Europe and beyond, Henri's infant formula was just the start.
A dream come true after all the months of waiting. Your baby, all yours, so tiny, so helpless, so dependent on you. To feel happy and secure, your baby needs you and the love you give him. To be healthy, he needs the right kind of milk. 50 million babies have thrived happily on this form of milk. Doctors know it is safe, easy for babies to digest, and of course fortified with vitamin D, the sunshine vitamin.
During the World Wars, Nestlé did not only feed babies but also soldiers, with condensed milk and chocolate, and they didn't stop there. In the post-war era, the merger with Maggi and strategic acquisitions allowed them to invade our kitchens with products ranging from instant coffee, Nescafé, to delicious chocolates and frozen meals. From its humble beginnings in a small Swiss town to becoming a colossus that touches nearly every aspect of the food industry, Nestlé has proven that there is no market they cannot dominate. But at what cost? This is what we will explore in this episode. In the 1970s, Nestlé decided that its infant formula should conquer not just Europe, but also Africa, Asia, and Latin America. The strategy seemed simple: distribute free samples through hospitals and healthcare workers. However, they did not anticipate the consequences of recommending the formula in places where access to clean water was more of a luxury than a guarantee. Mothers, influenced by their doctor's recommendations, began using the formula but with contaminated water. The result was devastating: infections, diseases, and an infant mortality rate that could not be ignored. The severity of the issue became widely known in 1974 when the activist group War on Want published the report The Baby Killer, exposing how Nestlé's marketing tactics were affecting the health of the most vulnerable. The reaction was immediate and furious, triggering a global boycott that deeply scarred the company's image.
One of our investigators just wrote me from the Dominican Republic a few weeks ago, about a month ago actually, where she was investigating the problem. And right across the hall from the rehydration ward, which is where they bring back the sick babies, there was a classroom, and outside the classroom was a little bronze plaque, and it said "Classroom donated by Nestlé." And inside there were lots of posters, there was formula displayed, etc.
Today we'll focus on one small element of the problems. will focus on the use of a product intended to nourish life, to enable infants to thrive and grow, to see how it can have the unintended effects of fostering malnutrition and spreading disease. Would you agree with me that your product should not be used where there is impure water? Yes or no?
We give all the instructions.
Just answer. What is your position?
Of course not.
Nestlé was forced to change, but the damage was already done. Propelled by the scandal, the World Health Assembly adopted the International Code of Marketing of Breast Milk Substitutes in 1981 to regulate these practices, a move that Nestlé officially accepted only 3 years later. This dark chapter shows that Nestlé's path to global domination was not without serious mistakes and questionable decisions, risking the lives of the innocent to expand its market. We shift the scene but not the controversy. Since the 2000s, Nestlé has been under scrutiny for the use of child labor in the supply chain of its most iconic ingredient, cocoa. But how does one of the world's most beloved brands find itself entangled in something as dark as child labor? Côte d'Ivoire and Ghana are not only known for their exotic landscapes, but also as the heart of global cocoa production, controlling more than 60% of the global supply. However, behind every chocolate bar lies a less sweet reality, the labor of children in hazardous conditions for meager wages. The major scandal broke in 2001 when a BBC documentary exposed the extensive use of child labor on cocoa plantations in West Africa.
It is clear that the way cocoa is cultivated today, in the type of environment that it is done, with the use of child labor, with the number of intermediaries in that supply chain, is not sustainable.
Nestlé, along with other major corporations, was pointed out for benefiting from exploitative practices to keep production costs of their chocolate products low. Faced with public outrage and the threat of legislation in the United States, Nestlé signed the Harkin-Engel Protocol, committing to eliminate the worst forms of child labor in its supply chain by 2005. However, deadlines have been extended and the controversy continues. To counter these criticisms, Nestlé has implemented several initiatives, such as monitoring and reporting systems, collaboration with NGOs, and community support programs. However, critics argue that these measures are neither sufficient nor entirely effective. Even in 2005, the company was sued in the United States under the Alien Tort Statute, accused of benefiting from child labor. Although Nestlé has made efforts to improve, follow-up reports suggest that the problem persists, highlighting the need for more robust and committed action to eradicate this practice. Now let's explore another controversial aspect of Nestlé that may not be as well known, its bottled water business. While it may seem less scandalous than child labor, Nestlé's actions in this area have sparked a flood of criticism and controversy. From the mountains of California to the quiet provinces of Canada, Nestlé has faced accusations over its water extraction methods, especially in areas affected by severe droughts. In California, the company has been criticized for drawing water from the San Bernardino National Forest, using questioned and potentially outdated permits. The controversy escalated when, despite devastating droughts, Nestlé continued its extraction, leading to state investigations that in 2017 concluded the company was taking more water than permitted, forcing it to significantly scale back its operations. In Canada, the debate heated up when Nestlé outbid a small community for a well in Ontario, needing the water as well.
We are the public. This is our resource.
The fight is between Nestlé, the world's largest food producer that bottles water from an underground aquifer here, and environmentalists.
Nestlé uses these big trucks to take its water to a bottling plant about 50 kilometers away. It has a permit to pump up to 1 million liters every day. But its critics say that's simply too much when there's a drought.
This not only sparked a public debate over corporate rights versus community needs, but also led to changes in legislation that imposed stricter restrictions on commercial water extraction. In response to these controversies, Nestlé has argued that its bottled water operations represent only a tiny fraction of the total water use in the affected regions, and that its practices are sustainable.
Nestlé says it's reduced its outtake by 20% because of the drought conditions.
However, the company has had to adapt to increasing regulatory demands and public pressure, culminating in the sale of most of its North American bottled water activities to Blue Triton Brands in 2021. Let's now discuss palm oil. This ubiquitous ingredient is not only present in almost all the processed products we consume, from food to cosmetics, but it is also at the center of one of the most severe environmental controversies of our time. Nestlé is among the many corporate giants that use palm oil and has been criticized for its role in massive deforestation, especially in Indonesia and Malaysia, which produce approximately 85% of the world's palm oil. The images of tropical forests being razed and turned into palm plantations are as shocking as they are alarming. The problem with deforestation is twofold. It results in a significant loss of biodiversity and the emission of greenhouse gases, and it also creates conflicts with local communities, displacing indigenous populations and destroying their livelihoods. In response to public pressure and international criticism, Nestlé promised to make its palm oil supply chain 100% sustainable and deforestation-free by 2020. They implemented policies to improve traceability and sustainability, including publishing lists of suppliers and conducting independent audits. Despite these efforts, the challenges remain significant. In this segment, we'll examine one of the most visible environmental crises of our era, plastic pollution. As one of the world's largest food and beverage producers, Nestlé plays a significant role in this story. Every year, millions of tons of plastics end up in our oceans from food and beverage packaging, with a devastating impact on marine life and ecosystems. Nestlé, known for its extensive use of single-use plastics, has been at the center of the debate over corporate responsibility in waste management. In response to increasing pressure from consumers, activists, and regulators, Nestlé committed to making 100% of its packaging recyclable or reusable by 2025. Additionally, the company promised to reduce its use of virgin plastics by a third in the same period, also exploring the use of biodegradable and compostable materials for some products. However, the path to these goals is complex. Challenges include inadequate recycling infrastructure in many parts of the world and the continued dependence on plastics for hygiene and food preservation reasons. Protests and public campaigns, especially from groups like Greenpeace, have been critical and constant.
We're here today to tell Nestlé to change its catastrophic policies. By purchasing products from rainforest destruction, not only is the company endangering biodiversity and the climate, it's also damaging its reputation.
Pressing Nestlé to accelerate its efforts and improve transparency in its sustainability practices. From controversies surrounding baby formula to the devastating impacts of deforestation and plastic pollution, we've observed how the actions of just one company can resonate globally, affecting both lives and the environment equally. But here's where the most crucial part of our story comes in. You, the viewer. If there is no demand, there is no business. In this dance between corporations and consumption, it is we, the consumers, who ultimately can lead the change. Every product we buy is a vote, a statement of what we consider acceptable or unacceptable in our societies. We are faced with a choice. We can continue to ignore the problems and enjoy the products without considering their hidden costs, or we can start making more informed and responsible decisions. Change is not only possible, it is necessary, and it begins with each of us being aware of our impact on the world. So now it's your turn. Leave your thoughts, your concerns, or your commitments in the comments. Discuss, debate, but above all, act. Because every small step counts in our fight for a more sustainable and fair future. This is Dark Money, and I hope this episode has inspired you as much as it has us in creating it. Don't forget to subscribe for more content. Until next time, and remember, the power to change the world is, surprisingly, in our own hands.